Good morning. The Subcommittee on Commerce, Justice, Science will come to order, and today we will take testimony on the budget request from the Department of Justice. Today we will be listening to the Attorney General, Eric Holder, testifying in behalf of the Justice Department, and after that we hope to hear from the Justice Department's Inspector General, Michael Horowitz, on important oversight issues. This is a committee not only of, making sure we spend the right money in the right way, but also to make sure we have the wonderful advice of an Inspector General. We want to alert everyone, though, there could be the possibility of votes beginning at 11:30, so we're going to kind of move it. And so this hearing today is one of 60 hearings in 6 weeks, where we're doing our due diligence in taking a look at the request from these agencies and the President's budget. Today, we really take testimony from, I think, one of the most important agencies in the government constellation, the Department of Justice, who really has a very key job in making sure they keep America safe, and from whether it's from federal law enforcement, federal prosecution, to terrorism, but also the enforcement of other issues, the important enforcement of white-collar crime, whether it's antitrust or mortgage fraud, to also civil rights and hate crimes and these things. It is the Department of Justice. It is not the Department of Crime, anti-crime, or whatever, and we're really proud of them. Mr. Attorney General, we want you to know we really salute the 112,000 employees who work for justice, the 25,000 federal agents, the roughly 18,000 prison guards and correctional staff, the 13,000 prosecutors and investigators, and those wonderful support staff, the GS 5s, 7s, and 9s that really keep the government going. While you and I might get the headlines, they make sure that they keep it all going. We know we've had an amazing year. The marshals have arrested over 11,000 fugitive sex offenders. The FBI has dismantled 421 criminal enterprises. DEA, 3,400 drug trafficking out of business, 3,400 drug trafficking organizations out of business, and the U.S. attorneys with charging over 83,000 defendants in criminal court. All that while facing sequester and slam down government shutdown. So just imagine now what you can do with certainty in funding. Under the Murray-Ryan budget, we have canceled sequester for 14, and for 15, we have our top line. So we now want to really take a look at what your requests are. And my goals for the hearing are 3 priorities: community security in terms of state and local, of course, national security, and then oversight and accountability in terms of spending dollars wisely, to uphold the rule of law, protect civil liberties and communities. There is a request in here for $2.2 billion for state and local government that puts cops on the beat, puts away child abusers, processes rape kits, all of those things at the local level. And we will be getting your views and insights about how those partnerships are working and what, through the funding process, we can actually strengthen them to get better results and better enforcement. We also want to know that that thin blue line in the local community that protects us, like our local police officers, have the equipment that they need. We also want to take a look at the issues related to our prisons. We know that you are leading a review on appropriate sentencing and how we can reduce the prison population without increasing risk to our communities. And you've looked at everything from compassionate parole for those prisoners that are now in their 70s and 80s to other creative things. We'd like to hear about that, but we also want to talk about what it is that we need to fund our prisons, and we need to make sure that we keep our prison guards safe. We met with the family and other correction officers related to Eric Williams, who was one of our prison guards murdered in a federal penitentiary in Pennsylvania. It was just wrenching to hear what they do. They have ideas that they need for training, what they need to carry in the prisons, how they have to keep themselves safe with increasing violent criminals and increasingly mentally ill prisoners. So we'd like to hear your thoughts on that. About this time last year, we were all gripped with the Boston Marathon. It really showed us what and how important national security is. That national security isn't in the Crimea or in the Middle East or in Iraq and Afghanistan. It was in the streets at the Boston Marathon. We had Marylanders injured. One of our really beloved preschool teachers lost her leg there, cheering her mother on. They're back in Boston, and she's back on her feet. But we want to make sure that never happens again, and we'd like your views on what we can do in terms of national security. The other threat that I have is cybersecurity, and Mr. Attorney General, I hope you could join with us in drawing the distinction between cybersecurity and surveillance. As you know, a lot of people are spooked because of the Snowden revelations, and they talk about 215. But I will tell you, my constituents are spooked by cybersecurity. If you go into a Target and you go into a Michael's, the famous craft store, some even go into Neiman Marcus, but most of all, most America is in places like Target. And the loss of the cybersecurity breach has been phenomenal. The cybersecurity breach now at universities, my own University of Maryland, Hopkins, they themselves that are really primetime schools now are hacking, stealing identities, stealing everything. So from stealing our trade secrets to the kind of thing that's going on, we need to know what do we need to do and what are the resources in cybersecurity. Every day we count on the Justice Department to fulfill its mission and to protect our lives and protect our way of life and to protect our Constitution. We need to hear from you what is the right funding that we need to make sure we do justice to the Justice Department. I now turn to my Vice Chairman, Senator Shelby, a very strong advocate in national security and also in supporting our local law enforcement. And we're particularly appreciative of his efforts in behalf of women and children.
Thank you.